Hey, Eric, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right.
Welcome to Mostly Security.
Episode 71.
71. All right.
Getting up there.
All right. Look at that. Another half a year and we'll be at 100.
We'll have to have like a party or something.
That will be cool. Like, yeah, maybe cake.
Do a live
maybe
show.
Cake.
Yeah, cake.
I feel a little bad actually tonight at dinner. This has nothing to do with anything, but tonight at dinner, my son's like, "Hey, can I have a root beer for dinner?" And I was like, "No, but let's have root beer floats for dessert." And he was like, "Ooh, good idea." And then I just sent him to bed without a root beer float. I'm feeling like a terrible father at the moment.
I thought you were going to say, and then you pulled out a Diet Coke for dinner.
No. No. But when he said, "Hey, I want a root beer," I was like, "Ooh!" But we just got vanilla ice cream the other day. We should have anyway.
All right.
Oh, funny. So, what's up with you this week?
Well, I was thinking I got nothing this week. My biggest excitement that I had this week was everybody was gone last night. So I got home from work and no one was around. The whole family had taken off. And so I was sitting at home by myself after work and I watched a movie on my fancy big screen.
Oh, that's cool.
Anyways, it was fun. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. It was kind of fun to sit by myself, munch on some popcorn, and watch them.
Nice. Sounds.
So that's what I did. It was relaxing.
Sounds relaxing. Hasn't been a lot of relaxing around the household here this past couple of weeks. It's been pretty crazy. I will say though,
yeah.
I had a minor success earlier tonight in that one of my projects this past weekend was to install a solar panel out on top of one of the sheds here to just hook up to a battery. And I bought the panel like a week and a half ago on Amazon, and actually I'm still waiting for the charge controller, which is currently leaving China. But I had a charge controller from the previous setup that I had, so no, I don't really need it, but it's just nicer. Anyway, I installed it. I got it all wired up, and it was not working. And for some reason on Sunday, I was low blood sugar or something. I could not figure out what the heck was going on, and so I pretty much just gave up at the time. And then this afternoon at I don't know, it was like 6:00 or so. It was still pretty bright out. It was a nice day here in Oregon today. And so I ran out to just do a little bit more debugging, and I had the multimeter, and I'm like, okay, I've got voltage at the end of the wire, or at the end of the panel, so I know that's working there. And then I had to basically just go one thing at a time, and I tracked it down to, it was a connector that I had put on that I did not have seated fully. So the weird thing was when I tested the cable, I'm testing the cable, and I'm like, I've got connectivity, but the probe for the multimeter was connecting to the metal on the inside. So, I mean, yes, there was connectivity there, but not when you plugged it into the real thing. So
Got it.
I just went like one at a time. I'm like, all right, I've got it here. So let me plug in my ground wire. And I tested the end of the ground to the end of the other thing, or the panel, and just one thing at a time. Was really kind of very deliberate. And as soon as I
System out, print line debugging.
Totally,
hardware.
Exactly. And then as soon as I did, I plugged it back in, and it was pumping out 2.6 or 2.9 amps, which is awesome.
I saw your tweet.
Yep, I tweeted out a little picture that said, "It's alive," which I'm totally stoked, because I had a little 10-watt like Harbor Freight, $12 solar panel wired up before, but it could not keep the battery charged. So anyway, that was my little minor victory earlier today. I was like, I know how to do this. Why was that not working? There's nothing to mess up here. How is it's literally 2 wires. Anyway, but I got all these
Awesome.
I got all these fancy connectors, these MC4 connectors, and I got a crimping tool. And I mean, this is totally stupid, but I totally spent $100 on a $10 project. But I wanted it. I wanted the crimper, and it's fancy.
Yeah, well, and you got more than $100 worth of education out of it. Learning how to do
that's
something.
true. That's true. And it's kind of cool. It's awesome.
Sweet.
Yep. All right. Follow up. I only threw one thing in follow up today, which was a little bit about the black hole story from last year. Because of course the internet can't.
Last week.
Sorry, I said last year. Last week, I can't speak either. I guess.
You're just so excited about your solar panel victory.
I was. Okay, so it's perhaps dumb, but whenever something like works the way it's supposed to, I'm very happy about that. And it's bizarre how often things don't work. That like they
yeah,
you think that they should, and easy. Anyway, the follow up here was a little bit about just how terrible the internet can be. And so don't be the terrible internet, because there was some blowback about Katie Bowman, the professor who developed the algorithm for collecting the data to take the picture of the black hole. And she didn't do it all herself. There was a whole team, and of course there was a whole team. But this literally was her PhD thesis. Yes, of course. It took a whole large number of people at all the telescopes and to gather all the data, and tons and tons and tons of data, and processing the data, and developing, like actually implementing the software. And anyway, so. Don't be the bad internet.
Yeah, just relax, people. Go watch a movie.
Yeah.
It's
and of course, I mean,
come on.
So that is awful in some ways, but I think that there was also a lot of people kind of coming to her defense, which was very good. So
yeah,
go Katie.
So jump into my topic then here. It's an article from Troy Hunt, and it's a reminder that there is a distinct lack of security in a lot of IoT devices, and this is a
understatement of the century.
Yeah, this one is a watch. It's called TikTok Track, and it's a watch that you give to your child so that you can track your child, and it's got a 2-way modem in it so you can answer calls from dad and back and forth. And the article is really, really long, and we've talked about this kind of stuff before, and it's down to the point where governments are telling their citizens that if they've bought this device to destroy it, it's horrible. They also talk about tracking any of your loved ones, maybe a senior or someone older.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, none of the APIs I shouldn't say none. A number of the APIs that can be used to track this watch are not secured in any way. And I thought the most egregious of these is the ability for someone who wants to fool the system to make your child appear pretty much anywhere on planet Earth they want them to.
Because
they can spoof.
They can tamper.
They can tamper with the signal coming, the API that tells the app that you as the parent look at to see where your child is. So some of the demos that showing that, instead of your child being where you think they are at school, they're, 5 miles away. And then
Wow.
The point here, though, was the inverse is now true. I mean, we talked a little bit last week about stalkerware. If there's, someone who is using this and, if a family member wanted to make the child appear that they were still in school, they could do that, but then have the child going. And there's the other point of, well, just take the watch off the child and leave it wherever. But, the fact that you can make the child appear anywhere you want, or make that wherever the watch is appear anywhere you want, makes it essentially useless. And when you can override the audio capabilities to make it sound like, the watch will show call from dad when it's not actually dad, kind of things.
Yeah. These are the basics. These are the basics of security, right? Because there's no authentication. You can enumerate the identifiers, right? Mm-hmm. So you can, they have an example in here that says, if you're looking for the location of kid 27, you can just say, well, what about kid 28? Or what about kid 32? Right? So, I mean, that's direct exposure of an identifier. When you're doing database programming, it is, you can have an ID column that has a monotonically incrementing counter of some sort, but that's not what you expose to the outside world if you're going to have to, address something by ID. You need to have like a GUID, and, what you don't want is you don't want to be able to walk one identifier to another and say, oh, even if it's a large number, right? Even if it's 10,227,212, there better not be a 213, right?
Well, I think really the point here to remind people of is know what you're buying. Especially when you're going out and building something where someone can track your child, or you're looking to do a lot of things. These are great ideas. I remember going to Disneyland when my kids were younger and actually losing for a short period of time my 5-year-old daughter because she ran one direction. We were at the tree, the Tarzan tree, and she wanted to go see it again. And so I said, well, okay, we'll just sneak through the back. But her, being her, she went to the front and ran all the way through the thing to get to the back, to the end again. And I thought she was right behind me going into the end. And about halfway into the end, I turn around looking for her, and I can't find her. And, there was some short panic there. And I remember thinking, man, I wish I had, this was 10 years ago. So right about the iPhone was coming out and things were, it seemed like this might be I thought I want an ankle bracelet to put on my kids to track, so that I can find them if I need to. I thought that would be a great toy. So looking at something like this, which is now commonplace, there's all sorts of ways to do these devices that you strap on, wrists or tracking by phone. A lot of, especially preteens and teens now, have access to phones or do have phones. All of these things are great, but when you start talking about younger kids, I guess be careful what you're buying, and think about what would happen if someone what kinds of things might somebody be able to do that you would not like were they to have access to this information. So careful what you buy.
I'm not sure that the average person would think about it, be able, not be able, of course you can explain it to them and they'd be horrified, but would even realize that it's possible for such a thing to exist. And really, I mean, that's similar to why we have FDA regulations for why, if we buy chicken, we actually want it to be really chicken. I don't know. That's probably a bad analogy.
Because everything tastes like
chicken. But yeah, I mean, anyway. Well, so I have kind of two topics. Although the second one is kind of a big one, so maybe, and it's kind of fun too. So I'm not sure. Maybe that'll be a straddle between topic and fun. But
it'll segue nicely.
So the one I chose also actually isn't really a security topic, but I thought it was interesting because we were Intel for a while.
Yeah.
And I at least am a pretty big Apple fan. I have iPhones. I do not have an Android phone. I know you are a polyphonal. What would you say that?
I'm pretty sure that's the first time that word has ever been uttered on planet Earth.
Okay. Well,
yes, I have a Pixel 3 and a 10R. Or is it XR?
10R.
Is it 10R?
10R.
Or tenor?
It's a tenor.
It's a tenor?
It's a tenor.
Yes. I have two phones.
Yes. Anyway,
right.
Okay. That has nothing to do with my topic. My topic was the fact that Apple and Qualcomm have settled their lawsuit, mysteriously enough, about the Qualcomm modems. So,
I wonder what happened to make that.
Well, what happened was the fact that Intel was not going to provide Apple with sufficient quantities of sufficient qualities of 5G modems. And so Apple's been suing Qualcomm. I think Apple was suing Qualcomm that they were overcharging for their modems, and that for the what do they call it, the licensing rights, something like that. I forget what what they were charging for, but that it was egregiously high. But Apple is now they have settled. They have a 6-year deal, according to Gene Munster. Although, may I just also say, this article is another Bloomberg article.
Well, yeah, my question was, so this is worded like Apple decided Intel couldn't deliver what they wanted. And was that the case? Because I saw a couple other things that made it sound like Intel said, hey, we're getting out of the 5G modem business. So there's two different takes there, right? There's Apple telling Intel, you can't give us what we want, so we're out. And that caused Intel to get out of the 5G business. Or Intel decided it's not profitable for us, so we're getting out of the 5G business. Sorry, Apple. And Apple saying, "Oh crap, I guess we need to settle with Qualcomm."
Yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly which came first, the chicken or the egg, the chicken or the modem.
I don't think it matters.
But the quote in here, which I'm not sure you can believe because it is Bloomberg, says Intel has struggled for decades in mobile. Okay, true. The company pledged that its 5G part was coming in phones next year, but within hours of Apple's deal with Qualcomm, and with it the loss of its prime mobile customer, Intel announced it would end its effort to produce a 5G modem for smartphones. So this certainly makes it sound as if it was, Apple gave up and Intel called it quits, but I mean, it certainly could have been the case that Intel told Apple, well, we've slipped. Our 10 nanometer process is not working. Sorry, that's kind of a PC joke. That Intel told Apple it would be slower than expected, and Apple was like, "Look, hey, we can't wait around for for you when Samsung's already shipping 5G phones.
ARM-based Macs.
They're coming. You know they are. The big question in my mind is whether they'll come this year or next. If you want odds, I would say 25% chance they're announced this year. But 75% chance they're announced next year. That's my John odds. So they're worth what you paid.
Exactly.
The speculation, of course, is that Apple will do its own modems. They are doing quite a good job with their other chip lines. You know, all the single number lines. Right. I guess now the A's are into double digits, but they've got the new H1 in the new AirPods. Right. And the T2 for the security chip on Macs, and the I forget what it is in a watch. Is that the M?
I think that's the M.
Yeah. Anyway.
Or is it the W?
No, the W I think was what they had in the old headphones. The old AirPods. Yeah. Anyway. Right. They've got a bunch. Their chip business. Their chip design business, I guess I should say, because I think they outsource all their manufacturing primarily to TSMC, is doing quite well. Thank you very much. And it's surprising, and I don't follow this super closely, but I presume that the main reason that they haven't yet done their own modem chip is not because it's quote unquote complicated, but because it is licensing restricted. So I don't know that to be the case, but anyway. So this was the thing that I thought was interesting that I saw.
All right, should we move to our transition?
Okay,
our
is
segue?
Is this your fun topic?
Sure. I was going to wing my fun.
Did you pick Did you pick something fun? Okay.
Something.
So we have to talk about this because we talked about it last year on, I looked it up. It was episode 15.
Ooh. Yeah. So almost, 1 year ago. Wow.
Isn't that cool? Yeah. This is the StackOverflow Developer Survey 2019. And StackOverflow is a website for developers. StackOverflow is where all the developers in the world hit Command-C.
That's right. Every bug in every code base anywhere can trace its origins to a bad cut and paste or a perfectly valid cut and paste. Just a bad answer in Stack Overflow.
It's not good. But I am 100% guilty for having done it. Oh, hey, that looks like the right answer.
That looks like it does what I want.
Yeah. So anyway, the cool thing is, since Stack Overflow has achieved dominance in the developer mind space, they use their platform, so to speak, to do a survey every year of developers that are on Stack Overflow, and then they publish a big long article with lots and lots of statistics about languages. Well, they have a bunch of demographics, profiles, but then a bunch of technology questions too. And the technology ones are the ones that I find the most interesting.
I want them to break up programming, scripting, and markup languages into their own sections, not treat them like they're all the same thing. I'll just lay that out there right there.
That's true, because that's actually the section I've got right in front of me. Programming, scripting, and markup languages, which are different things. So, what's the most popular programming language, Eric?
Let's see. The most probably actual programming language. Let's see.
No. You cannot weasel.
Looks like it's C#.
You cannot weasel out of that. You cannot weasel out of that. Oh, you don't consider interpreted languages programming? I'm afraid I would.
No.
No. Come on. Scripting implies interpreted. Scripting implies interpreted.
Yeah.
So
JavaScript.
Java, but Java is not an interpreted language. If you had said Java, I would.
Python.
SQL's interpreted. I mean, I guess Python's interpreted.
Yeah, Java.
Java is a programming language. Java is not
PowerShell.
You compile Java. Java's not interpreted.
Java's somewhere between programming and scripting. All right, sorry, we're wasting time on.
All right. Enough with the pedantry.
I like Swift. All right.
Okay. So yes.
Yeah. So it is JavaScript. All that to convince me to get me to actually say.
I don't want to say JavaScript is popular.
Is the most popular
by a large margin. 67% of respondents.
Well, now let's. But this one is most commonly used, not favorite.
That's true. This is most commonly used. Yes, and it says for the seventh year in a row, JavaScript is the most commonly used programming language. But Python has risen in the ranks again. Python is number 4.
Go Python.
Can you believe that? Python is number 4. Okay, so I pulled up 2018. What was Python last year? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It was number 7. So
what was the percentage?
It was 38.8 last year.
All right, so it gained 3%.
Gained 3%. That's interesting. Last year, Java was at 45. This year, Java is at 41. Yeah, so it's both gaining on some. Interesting that CSS was on the list last year. Where's CSS this year? Oh, they combined HTML/CSS. See, that's unfair. All right. Anyway.
Yeah, because those two are the exact same thing.
Oh, come on, they are not. This is what makes developers argue. Okay.
Moving on.
Okay, moving on. So, what's the most popular framework? Node. You know that. Yeah. What are you going to do? Interesting that for platforms, did you see, where was Docker last year?
I think they said this is the first time they've asked about Docker.
That it was on the list? Huh.
Yeah. It says, we asked about container technologies like Docker for the first time this year.
Oh.
So it probably wouldn't on it. So I don't know if last year had AWS or Google Cloud or Azure either, or Heroku or any of the.
Yeah, interesting. Last year on platforms, they didn't actually have much commentary on it, but it was Linux. Linux on top at 48% last year, and Windows at 35%. So Windows is significantly higher at the moment, which is interesting. And this is, by the way, there's the responses. 80,000 responses to this particular question. So
the one item on this that annoys me the most is the fact that Slack is a platform.
What the?
I know.
What?
I look at Raspberry Pi. I'm like, yes, Raspberry Pi. Slack is a platform. WordPress is a platform.
And more people have written for quote unquote Slack. What? Then
yeah.
Okay. Thanks for pointing that out. I appreciate it. Now I won't sleep well tonight.
I'm here for you.
I appreciate it. Okay, most loved languages. What's your most loved? What's the most? This is where you let me see.
That's
I haven't looked at the dreaded. Is the most dreaded JavaScript?
No.
I agree with the most dreaded.
Visual Basic. I'm sad though that Objective-C is
so dreaded?
I do have a love-hate relationship with Objective-C. I do like Swift way better than Objective-C. But most loved, Swift is getting up there, almost 70%.
Interesting. People dread Java more than JavaScript.
Yeah, well, but most of when we get down to the like most loved, dreaded, and wanted web frameworks, the most loved ones are JavaScript based, and the most dreaded ones are JavaScript based.
Drupal's PHP, isn't it?
Yeah, jQuery and Angular.
jQuery
were the ones I was looking at.
Dread Ruby on Rails, really? Dread Angular?
I thought, yeah.
Interesting that. Okay, so people don't dread React very much. They certainly want and love it. That's interesting. Mm-hmm. I've only done a tiny bit of React, and it seemed okay, but I definitely didn't do it enough to be able to think in it. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I certainly like the, sort of write a function that will fire in response to something else.
All right. And then the platforms. Everybody loves Linux. Everybody loves Docker. Everybody loves Kubernetes. And Raspberry Pi. Go Raspberry Pi.
Most loved. Oh, you're on the most loved platforms? Okay.
Yes.
Linux, Docker.
Sorry, I skipped the databases.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
And then the most dreaded platforms. WordPress, IBM,
Watson?
Cloud, Watson.
Oh, that's funny. So, Arduino, pretty high there on the dreaded.
That would be dreaded. It seems that seems odd to be on the dreaded.
Yeah, that seems high.
Because typically, if you're messing with Arduino, it's because you love it. It's not because
who's being forced to deal with Arduino at work? and besides, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
That's funny. All right. Most popular dev environments.
Mm-hmm.
VS Code. Look at that. Where was that last year?
I was going to ask you.
Okay, hold on.
Was that one?
I have to look it up.
Yeah.
Development environments and tools. Let's see.
Are you tapping your mic a lot?
No, my cat is scratching her teeth on my desk. I can't explain it. I'm sorry. Okay, right. So hold on. I'm looking for what question? I'm looking for
Visual Studio Code, VS Code.
Development environments and tools, most popular development environments. Development environments and tools, most popular development environments. Last year was also VS Code at 34.9%. This year at 50.7%. Yeah. Last year, Visual Studio was at 34%. Visual Studio is down a little bit. And Notepad++ kept third place, 34%, now down to 30%. More people use Notepad++ to write code than IntelliJ, or... Wow, Vim is number 4.
Well, that's 5. For all response. So then they split it up between web developers, mobile developers, right? Because mobile developers are not using... Oh, crap, they are using Notepad++. What?
Huh? And
all right.
DevOps, Vim number 2. Whoa.
That makes sense. That makes all the sense in the world. That does make
sense, yeah. Anything you can SSH and then VI.
Right.
Okay.
All right, developers' primary operating systems. Where was Mac last year? Is Mac going up or down?
Let me see. Developers' primary operating systems. macOS last year was 26.7%.
So flat.
Windows.
I'm gonna bet that's all because of the keyboard.
Don't even get me started. Oh, that is awful. So Windows last year was 49.9%, and this year is 47.5%. So down a little bit on Windows, up a little bit on Linux.
And I high five to the 90-ish people that said BSD. I love you.
I'm sorry. Oh, that's awesome. What was that last year? Hold on. Did they have that last year? Last year it was 0.2%. What's last year was 0.2% of 76,000 responses. This year it's 0.1% of 87,000 responses. That's funny.
Yeah. Awesome.
Oh, that's cool. Anyway.
And then because Stack Overflow just had to, there's a
no
section
way.
on blockchain.
Why did they add what?
Come on. Although I love it. Are you using blockchain? 80%. Not at all.
Oh, that's funny. That was not in the survey last year, so.
But developers in India are most likely to say their organizations are using blockchain technology. Yeah, so skipping that part. Anyways, fun.
It's fun. It's fun. So anyway, there's some other cool stuff. If you go down and look at like the top paying technologies, they have lots of salary stuff. Evidently, if you're a Scala programmer, you're the best.
That's all Spark, right? And big data.
Yeah, maybe that's the deal. That's what it's correlated with. But that's cool.
Yeah, that it is something fun.
It is something fun. All right, give me your real something fun.
All right, so my real something fun. I before we started, I realized I had not come up with a something fun, but I will. I think I even mentioned it at some point on the podcast. My boy likes fire alarms.
Yes.
And fortunately, he has never actually gone and pulled one.
That would be bad.
But we built a faux wall, and he's spending his own hard-earned money. And by hard-earned, I mean Christmas money that he gets from Grandma, on pull switches and the strobe lights and the audio alarms, and some are combined. And we built a wall and put a bunch of switches and...
Like a wall you can carry around.
Yeah. We put it on wheels, so it's a wall. It's a 2x2 wall, 2x4s and sheetrock, and we textured it. I mean, we made it look like a real wall. We painted it with some extra paint that we had.
It does look like a real wall
from doing the basement. And he's got 3 of them all configured. We've got a 24-volt adapter that we plug in, and he can turn them on and off with light switches. And yes, I know that AC switches on a DC network or DC circuit is not the greatest thing, but it functions. Anyway, so that's my something fun. We've actually finished it enough to the point he's got one more that he wants to put on there, and he wants to get a ceiling one, but it'll be stuck on the wall, but just to kind of show a different one. And I have no idea what he wants to do with it.
I was going to say, is he going to use it for like a science fair or a show and tell? Or
Well, that's what I told him he ought to do is, take it to a science fair and do a science project on how these types of devices work. And, you can show it off. So he's done it because he just...
He likes it. He loves them.
Yeah, he doesn't play video games. He doesn't, that was the thing that he was interested in, and I thought it was cool. I could help him. We learned how to do circuits and electricity, and it's been a fun project. We going to the store and buying the 14 gauge wire and showing him the difference between stranded and solid core, and hey, he's learning how to screw things on and off and cut wire and all sorts of things, which
good life skills.
Great for me.
Good life skills. I bet
Exactly.
you wouldn't have messed up my cable if you had made it.
I'm sure I would have messed something else up. So that I thought I'd say that myself. So if you have a podcast player that will actually show the pictures, I'll have a picture in the show notes, I guess, and I could probably tweet one out. I'll probably tweet one out as well. Maybe I'll tweet one out and then link that into the show
That's
notes. Cool. So
that's cool.
It was a fun project. I think I sent
awesome.
you a video of.
You did. I saw it. That was great. That's cool.
Maybe I'll tweet the video because it's kind of fun.
Anyways,
awesome. That was my something fun. A father-son technology project that he actually wanted to do, and it wasn't me kind of pushing my ideas on him. So
Yeah.
it was
Oh,
fun.
that's awesome.
I enjoyed that. So there's my something fun.
And I know it took a long time to get it all done too.
Yeah, it was months.
That's fun. That's good. All right, that is definitely something fun. I had two things. The first was definitely not fun, and we don't have to talk about this much, but I don't think you actually know what this is. But
I've clicked on
click
the
on
link
it?
and was reading through it.
So this is
I don't
this
understand.
is Pepsi has done a deal with a Russian CubeSat company to project enormous advertisements using an artificial constellation of CubeSats into the nighttime sky. So soon we will be living in a dystopian nightmare where you look up at the sky and you can see an advertisement for a soft drink.
So this seriously is, I'm going to look and say there's the Big Dipper, there's Buy Pepsi.
Not Pepsi.
99
It looks
cents.
like it's going to be Adrenaline Rush.
What? Oh, even better.
So it's an energy drink of some sort. So yes. So this is let's see. They're going to project huge ads into the night sky using CubeSats with mylar sails that'll reflect sunlight back down to Earth during the twilight of early morning or evening.
This is very annoying to me
So,
right now because
I like I said, not something fun, but something annoying.
We need a new section.
I'm here,
Something
I'm
annoying.
here for you, Eric, just like you're here for me. I'm here for you. That was not something fun, but the thing crossed my feed this week, and I was like, that sucks. What? Can't be real. Hopefully there will be some sanity before that happens, but. Okay, my real something fun, also just a little thing, but this is the source code for Zork is online. It's on GitHub. So we'll put the link in here, but Zork is a text-based adventure. And let me load this thing up. I don't think I ever played Zork.
I remember playing Zork on, I want to say, a Commodore 64. At school.
Yeah. Except I might have, though, because I remember playing some text-based game on the Wang computers. That is really what they were called. At my high school job. And the only thing I remember, I don't remember anything else about the game except a jeweled egg. And I did Google Wang computer jeweled egg just a minute ago, and it came up with. Hold on, what did it come up with?
I was gonna say, do you have your
No. I did. Sorry, I did Wang computer text adventure, and it came up. I could not figure out what the actual game was. There is some linkage out here that maybe it was actually Colossal Cave that was on there. Not anyway, which is not the thing that was released. So why does it matter? Blah blah blah. But anyway, this is kind of cool for a couple of reasons. I mean, just sort of historical interest, and a lot of people did play it. If you played it on a Commodore 64, that's about the right
familiar.
time frame. It was released in 1980.
Yeah.
But if you come out here to the code, well, the code was written in the Zork implementation language. So, nicely.
Back when you actually wrote your own language.
Yeah. To build a game, you had to write your language, right? So, and this is this says it's a refactoring of MDL or Muddle, which is itself a dialect of Lisp created by MIT students and staff. So it's essentially a Lispy language, which is kind of cool. So The other thing that it says out here in the README for the source repo is there is currently no known way to compile the source code in this repository into a final Z machine interpreter program or zip file. Funny. There are some zip files in the repository, but they don't know how to create them. But then the compiler was a Z machine interpreter language compiler, or zilch, which was used to compile them. So anyway, I thought that was kind of funny for some of that. But if you look at like the @1actions.zil file, you can see a whole ton of routines that basically are the rooms that you're in. So, or, sort of where you are. So you're standing in an open field west of a White House with a boarded front door. And then, you can kind of read this for so like the tell is what the text is, right. The conditions for what's around. So if the kitchen window is open, then you're going to say that it's open. Otherwise you'll say it's slightly ajar, and, you can kind of read, some of this stuff and kind of imagine what it would be like. So inside the barrow. Anyway, it's very, very cool. And I thought this was cool. So that's my something fun.
Yeah. How long before someone writes the compiler to actually turn this into?
Someone's working on it right now.
Zork.
Somebody's working on it right now.
Yeah. Programmers are bored.
Awesome.
Yes. And they're probably writing it in JavaScript.
Do I get to say I agree, or like which side of the bet do I have to be on that? Because there's one side of that I will totally take. That's true. All right, man. We've probably exceeded our recording quota for the night.
Oh, holy crap! Yeah, this is a long
Good
episode.
luck editing out a whole bunch of garbage. Sorry, man.
That's all right. That's all right. It's how I relax. Thursday night relax time is podcast edit night.
Yeah,
so.
It's fun. All right, man. Have a good night, and I will talk to you next week.
All right. See you later, John.
Bye.
Bye.